Hello everyone, movie recap here. Today we are going to recap Doctor Strange. In an accident, Stephen Strange, a famous neurosurgeon, loses the ability to use his hands. He goes to visit the mysterious Ancient One to heal himself and becomes a great sorcerer under her tutelage. Spoilers ahead. Caecilius and a few of his minions break into a temple at the start of the movie and take a book. A man in a yellow robe then confronts them after hearing a voice caution him against conducting a specific ceremony. After a conflict involving altering the environment around them, Caecilius's gang escapes the temple after they flee away, revealing that they are in London. Christine Palmer informs Dr. Stephen Strange about a brain-dead man with a bullet in his skull as he completes an operation. Dr. Strange performs an operation on the patient and successfully removes the bullet, allowing the patient to fully recover despite the concerns of his colleague, Dr. Nicodemus West. Palmer declines Strange's invitation to see him at a conference once the procedure is a success. Strange is obviously an extremely egocentric perfectionist. Strange is on his way to the conference when he smashes his sports car while rushing up a mountain because he is preoccupied with the arrival of new patient records. When he wakes up, his hands are almost completely paralyzed. Despite all of his attempts and Palmer's encouragement, he ultimately fails with every experimental cure, spending almost all of his money in losing Palmer. A co-worker then tells Strange about Jonathan Pangborn, a guy who was completely paralyzed but made a successful and miraculous recovery under physical therapy. Strange asks Pangborn where he is and is told to go to the Kumar Taj in Kathmandu, Nepal. Strange is saved from being robbed and beaten up by robbers in Nepal by the same enigmatic man who saved him in the opening episode. The Ancient One is then encountered in Kumar Taj when he directs Strange there. The Ancient One replies that Pangborn reoriented his spirit and healed himself after being questioned about him. In a fit of wrath, Strange attempts to meet the Ancient One, but to his horror and amazement, she forcibly throws his spirit into several different realities before bringing him back and expelling him. While outside, a desperate Strange tries unsuccessfully to enter the building. The Ancient One and Carl Mordo talk about training Strange while this is going on. The Ancient One is tired of Strange acting with practically the same level of arrogance as Caecilius, who turned to the dark side, but Mordo persuades her to let Strange enter. After Strange is allowed inside, it becomes clear that Palmer left behind a watch with the inscription, "Time will tell you how much I love you, Christine," proving that Palmer and Strange were once lovers. After that, Strange and Wong enter a library and borrow a few volumes on sorcery. He then discovers a region that Wong claims belongs only to the Ancient One and must remain untouchable. He threatens Strange if he touches the books in that part and claims that specific pages were taken by the old teacher Caecilius. In contrast to his fellow students, Strange starts his training and faces difficulties. When he complains that his hands are failing him, the Ancient One sends forth a master who can cast spells with just one hand. After instructing Strange to keep his ego in check so that his power can grow, the Ancient One teleports Strange to the summit of Mount Everest and gives him 13 minutes to cast a spell to return him or perish. Mordo is concerned, but Strange pulls it off and makes a successful return. Strange later decides to read up on astral projection, but Wong forbids him access. He used the earlier knowledge of teleportation. Strange, though, steals the books and discovers how to astral project, allowing his spirit to leave his body. The following day, the Ancient One confronts Strange on the missing volumes but instead instructs him on how to create a safe space, which is effectively a reverse replica of reality where one can practice without negatively impacting the real world and serves as a defense against dangers. The Ancient One then warns Strange about Caecilius and Mordo trains Strange in battle, claiming that there is a certain relic of power that goes to sorcerers when they are ready. Later, Strange decides to visit the library after failing to write Palmer an email. Wearing the Eye of Agamotto, Strange attempts to follow a time-bending ritual in a forbidden book without Wong and succeeds in restoring both the book's lost pages and an apple that has been eaten. After that, Wong catches him and chastises Strange for repeatedly creating time loops and for disregarding the world's natural laws. According to Wong, the Avengers protect the world from mystical threats just as they do from physical ones. Then, Wong and Mordo take Strange to a room that has 3 sanctums, one of which leads to Hong Kong, one to London, and one to New York. Strange is informed that the sorcerers are responsible for guarding all 3 sanctums. An exhausted Strange decides to go, but as they enter the London sanctum, enemies fire at them. Strange observes Caecilius enter the London sanctum and likely slay Mordo. After some resistance, Strange resolves to attack them. To defend himself, he sends one of Caecilius' followers into a desert, blocking the route, and another into a jungle. Then Caecilius attacks him, but Strange is instantly covered by a cloak that keeps him safe and directs him to a set of armor that he uses to trap Caecilius. Caecilius then claims that his ultimate goal is eternal life and that time is actually the enemy. He had planned to use power from Dormammu to summon him from the dark dimension. He claims that Dormammu is not the enemy but rather the world's rescuer. Strange is being spoken to when one of the followers suddenly thrusts a spear into Strange's back, stabbing him. After making several unsuccessful attempts to flee, Strange builds a portal and teleports to New York, where he meets Palmer again. After persuading Palmer to operate on him, he astral projects to the shocked Palmer. The 2 spirits battle while the disciple of Caecilius astral projects himself into the gateway to New York. Strange experiences a bodily collapse but immediately understands that defibrillator shocks provide him extra strength. He defeats the follower after 2 strong shocks and returns to his corporeal body soundly. He decides to return to the London sanctum after telling Palmer about his adventure, where he discovers the follower's actual dead body as well. The Ancient One and a living Mordo appear out of nowhere. The Ancient One elevates Strange to the rank of Master and instructs him to guard the sanctums in New York and Hong Kong before Caecilius discovers them. They learn that the coat that kept attaching itself to Strange was his relic. Strange is upset and wants to go, but the Ancient One snaps at him, calling him a liar. In the meantime, Strange strikes back and confronts the Ancient One, claiming that she drew her immortality from the dark dimension. When Caecilius and his followers begin to attack during this time, Strange casts the reversed mirror spell to defend himself before remembering that they could still perish inside. The Ancient One intervenes to save Strange and Mordo after they are attacked, chased, and nearly killed. The Ancient One and Caecilius then engage in combat after discussing his plot, and Caecilius throws the Ancient One through a made-up portal, sending him plummeting toward London from a great height. The Ancient One collapses to the ground while being saved by Strange and Mordo, leaving her in a severe condition. Strange transports her to New York via a portal, where Palmer operates on her and uses astral projection to communicate with her ghost. The Ancient One claims that while it is true that she used the Dark Dimension's power, she only used it to stop terrible futures from occurring, which, regrettably, only got worse when a bad future was saved. She continues by saying that because of Stranger's conceit and fear of failure, he has no future and only possibilities. The Ancient One then informs Strange that he has always had the ability to repair himself before urging him to put an end to Dormammu. After the Ancient One has passed away, Strange speaks with Palmer and bids her farewell. Wong gets the sorcerers ready to defend themselves at the Hong Kong sanctum. Wong confronts Caecilius, who is regrettably already there. In the meantime, Strange visits Mordo in Kathmandu and, despite Mordo's complaints about the Ancient One, persuades him to accompany him on the mission to safeguard the Hong Kong sanctum. The two discover, however, that the sanctum has already been demolished and the dark dimension has been fully invoked when they arrive. The harm is then reversed, including saving Wong, thanks to Strange's employment of the time-reversing magic he had previously learned. However, as Caecilius and his companions attack them, Strange chooses to take off towards the dark dimension by himself. Strange encounters Dormammu in the dark dimension and tries to negotiate with him. Dormammu murders Strange there, and then Strange reappears, having set up an endless time loop to torture Dormammu until he agrees to a contract. Finally breaking down, Dormammu accepts Strange's promise to leave Earth alone and set it free. Prior to Caecilius and his followers disintegrating, everything is back to normal in Hong Kong. As part of the agreement, they were promised eternal life, with Dormammu in the dark dimension forever. The world is secure, but Mordo is furious that Strange is breaking the inherent laws of the universe and storms off, warning him of the final cost he will have to pay. When Strange and Wong reach Kathmandu, Strange gives Wong the Eye of Agamotto, which turns out to be an Eternity Stone. After receiving Wong's instruction to get ready, Strange arrives at the New York sanctuary, checks his watch, and completely embraces his new position as a sorcerer. In the post-credits scene number 1, Thor, who was previously unknown, is introduced as a guest in Doctor Strange's house for tea. Strange agrees to help Thor, who has brought Loki to New York to look for his father Odin. In the post-credits scene number 2, Mordo confronts Jonathan Pangner about abusing his power, arguing that sorcerers only misuse nature. Jonathan Pangner was discovered to have been healed of his paralysis by sorcery. Then, after claiming that power is granted for a reason, he steals Pangner's abilities and again paralyzes him. Mordo then declares that there are simply too many sorcerers before leaving, giving the impression that he will begin hunting them down globally. We really hope you enjoyed today's recap of Doctor Strange. Please leave a comment below on what you loved about the movie and why. Be sure to like the video and please don't forget to support our channel by subscribing so you don't miss any amazing content. Until next time, lights, camera, action. We look forward to seeing you in our next video.